Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hey everybody, we're here today on our Friday review of the Cabral Concept. So happy to have you. Excited to get into today's show. I've got a brand new product review. Many of you, when I posted it on Instagram, knew what they were and had already been using them themselves. So you've given me a lot of feedback on that, which is really great. Hope to do the same for you. Share a little bit of my feedback now and how my initial inclinations were actually incorrect on the product, but always, again, keep that open mind. Think about it. I've got some great news about the iBone-based programs that are all in the app for this month. I want to give you a podcast recap from the week. Go over, like I said, our product review, a brand new herb of the week, one that I found out about, I don't know, it's probably been, again, time does fly, but it's probably been about 7, 8 or so years that I've been trying to introduce it to my diet. I would definitely recommend it. I'll share that with you as well. And then 2 research studies, one on the whole thought process around osteoporosis and if it relates to your weight or not. I can't wait to share that with you because that was insightful. Again, kept my mind open for this new finding. And then a compound that has been looked for 25 years because it's been proven to actually work as an anti-cancer compound. So it's been discovered. This was just literally discovered. It was written about a whole, I think 24 hours ago. It was actually just published. So this is up to date, on point for what you are looking for as terms of the latest and greatest research. So let's get right into it. I always give you my updates in the beginning. And it's funny because I haven't had a cold. You probably heard the hoarseness in my voice like for most of the week. I do my recordings over a couple days for the week. And, I haven't had a cold or anything significant since last October. So it's been a while. And it's not like I don't get sick. I mean, I get a cold like other people get a cold. I travel quite a bit. I've got 2 daughters that go to school. They're quite young, so they bring all sorts of things home. But typically you get something for a day or 2 and you just kick it. Same thing though. I don't know if it's been going around or what, but my daughters had it. My wife, again, who if you've been listening to this podcast for some time, has the world's strongest immune system. She is never sick for more than a day. It's uncanny. It's unremarkable. Like it's just, you literally can't even talk about how strong her Th1 immune system is, where I'm the opposite side of that, where, I don't necessarily get as many Th1 based issues, but my immune system needs a little bit of a boost. It needs a little bit of a help. And I'm always happy to give it a little helping hand. And I always do when I travel and all sorts of things, but certainly wasn't expecting that May cold, or now we're moving, I guess, into June, as well. But when I'm recording this, it's in May. So just sharing that with you that, again, we all get sick, but here's the nice thing. We all recover as well. If we're doing the things that we need to do to keep our bodies healthy, we allow our immune system the time to build up its defense. And guess what? It's priming the immune system. So when it sees whatever this thing is again, that it is better able to mount the defense faster, and it's able to hopefully squelch it before you ever get any symptoms. Because remember, your body is always fighting all sorts of different bacteria or viruses or things that shouldn't be in it on maybe even a daily basis. So we come in contact with these things. We've seen them before. Our immune system fights them off. We never get the symptoms, right? Don't get the hoarseness necessarily that I may have right now. But as I always say too, the show always goes on. I feel great. There's no issues, just a little bit of congestion. So we'll move through the congestion today, as long as you don't mind maybe an octave lower in my voice, that we're able to get started. So what I want to share with you too is, because I'm always, again, like when it comes to these things, when it comes to health, when it comes to fitness, These are things I consume, like I love using. And so for the iBone-based app, hopefully you know what that is by now. We're adding more brand new workouts this month. We're adding a hills cycling-based workout, so a nice interval cardio-based workout. We're adding 2 easier bodyweight workouts, so more beginner workouts for people to be doing. Then we're adding some weighted workouts. So one's going to be a kettlebell workout. That's going to be mainly glute, lower body. Then we're going to add an upper body dumbbell-based workout, and then we're going to add a 15-minute HIIT workout, and that's going to be with some dumbbells as well. So it'll be kind of that Metcon HIIT workout that I've talked about this week, and one beginner Tabata workout. So if you're new to Tabatas and you only have 4 minutes, literally 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off for 8 rounds, we've got another fun one for you. So definitely check that out. Many of you were interested in the NSDR, the non-sleep deep rest, like how to restore the body to a greater level. So we added in a yoga nidra meditation. That's coming. So again, as you're listening to this in June, this is debuting. When is this debuting? June 3rd. So you're going to be able to get access to this literally today. So just go to stevencabral.com/app. That's stevencabral.com, Steven with the PH, /app, APP, and you'll be able to check these out for iBone-based members. All right. Just a couple more things I wanted to add to you. We're adding a couple new exclusive articles. So basically talking about, if you wanted to, again, how to complete a coffee enema. We're talking about natural sleep-based aids. We're talking about more detox recipes or recipe guides for that. We've got lots of new nutrition recipes, lots of new meal plans in there as well. And then what to do if you're feeling run down. How to boost the immune system. That's probably a good one for me right now as well, all kidding aside. And then a nice bonus on sinus and seasonal-based allergies. So really excited about that. We love your feedback. Really, again, we're just super happy that you're enjoying the app. We're taking all of your feedback. So here's the best thing about the app, in my opinion, is that you're going to see it grow every single month. Like if you're already a part of iBone, if you don't know what iBone is, just go to stevencabral.com/iBone, and it's AYUBOWAN. BOWAN. Check it out. I mean, basically, this is completely free for our iBone members, and you're going to see it grow every single month. We're going to start bringing in guest experts starting in just one more month. I mean, it's going to be incredible. It really is. And you're going to see it grow every single month. Someone said, hey, would you have a sleep? Because we have the sleep noises. We've got, meaning like white noise. So you can play if you're traveling or you want white noise. Someone said, hey, instead of a 30-minute, could you have one that lasts maybe 8 hours? And so let's go. That's a good suggestion. So we're starting to work on those. And you'll see all of these things be developed for our community. So these are all action-based things. Meditations, online workouts, recipes, restaurant recommendations, shopping plans, like you name it. If you can use it to live a healthier lifestyle, it is going to be inside of this app and it's going to be free for iBone members. So definitely check that out. Super excited about that. All right. More coming soon on that too. But this week, because it does end in just about, well, if you're listening to this on Friday, just 2 more days. So we have our Superfood chocolate bars, which, by the way, this was not even planned if you're watching this on video, on my desk. I did have one today. I don't have one every single day. I'm not saying that, but I did have one today. And I had that little craving that I was like, I could use a little something, a little pick me up before my afternoon podcast. And I had this, and it was, to be honest with you, absolutely delicious. So if you're not familiar with our organic Superfood chocolate bars, they are organic chocolate. They're mixed with apple, cherry, and raspberry concentrate for our antioxidants. So super dense in antioxidants. I mean, chocolate, apple, cherry, and raspberry. They're under 100 calories, only 5 grams fat. If you're worried about those things, 2 grams of fiber. So again, it's a nice little treat, as it says right on it, guilt-free treat. You can get 9 free bars, so a whole box free with qualifying purchases right now over at stevencabral.com/shop. All right, let's get into our podcast recap for the week and then our product review and so much more. All right, so on Monday, 10 ways to attract more good and positivity into your life. Really enjoyed doing this podcast. Again, I read it. I went through it. I started to really think about like, how can I whittle these things down in order to be able to make them more succinct for you? And that is what brought about this particular podcast, is me trying to do more of the work in my own life, trying to bring more positivity, more good, and trying to share that with you as well. On Tuesday's show, we went over how oral health impacts your overall wellness and longevity. That was a nice one because I haven't talked about oral health in some time, and we linked up a bunch of shows that will go back and how to choose a biological dentist to kind of keep on your health team, how to go through a typical, just simple daily oral health-based routine, what that looks like. So definitely check that out. On Wednesday's show was how fasting. So, how one thing, and it's going to include specific use of water. Maybe it's hot. Maybe it's cold, maybe it's warm. You'll find out on the show how to use that on a daily basis to actually stimulate fat burning. And again, this is actual science-based, and the calories, believe it or not, that you burn are significant. Like, it's not 8 calories per glass like you've heard about for certain other types of water. This is actually significant and, by the way, free to do. So definitely check that out. And then yesterday we went over our brand new lab that we've been using in the private practice, and now we're debuting it online, and that's the women's fertility test. So all of those can be found at stevencabral.com/podcasts. And today's episode 2310, if you want to check out today's show notes and all the links, stevencabral.com/2310. All right, product review of the week. Now, many of you wrote in, and you know that I don't talk about it a ton, but, maybe I do talk about it a good amount. I'm someone that loves to exercise. Again, I've taken solace in it for the past 25 years, more than that now, 27 years. And the reason is that, again, I've shared this before, but I think it bears repeating because it was a lifesaver for me. That when I wasn't well, I was very, very sick, and I couldn't figure out how to make the inside of my body healthy. What I could do was go to the gym and change the outside. So that was where my love of natural bodybuilding and fitness and exercise physiology and all that came about. And that's where essentially when I was in undergrad, I became a certified nutritionist. I became a certified personal trainer. When I graduated, I became a certified strength and conditioning specialist with NSCA. Then I did a bunch of NASM certifications. Then I became an ACSM, American College of Sports Medicine-based practitioner member. All sorts of great memories and certifications, and I still use them to this day. You don't stop being that. You don't stop using those things, and I do. But fitness is always a big part of my life. I've always enjoyed lifting weights and sprinting, much better than longer distance cardio, but there is a lot of benefits doing aerobic-based cardio. And one of the recommendations I gave you was a bunch of different sneakers because I'm always trying them out. And one of the reasons is that I put on not a ton of miles, but I put on probably about 50 miles a week on my sneakers. So if you're looking at that, that's about, 50 miles, 200 miles or so a month. And typical sneakers, what depends on the impact and what you're using them for. But, that would be like, you might get just a couple months of training out of that if you're going to put that type of usage on them. Some people could get more, but anyway, the last pair I showed you, and I'll show you the new product review this week. These used to be white. They're probably a little bit more gray now. These are my Under Armour ones. These were the Machina 2 was the hover-based technology that I was talking about before. And I really like these sneakers. Again, they're all dirty and worn out now. They used to be white. I really like them. Switched over to white sneakers. Used to always be like all black or blue. But these I moved over to because I had a small arch-based nagging injury. It was fine. It was no big deal. It was just an overuse thing that I got rid of. And I switched over to these because they provided a lot more cushion and a lot more support from a lot of the minimalist ones that I was using for quite some time. And I'm not against those. I still use them for weightlifting and training. But this pair was one of the most comfortable pairs of sneakers I've ever worn. And I still do recommend them to this day. By the way, all my recommendations, all the companies I love are at stevencabral.com/resources. And the pair, though, that got recommended to me, they're like, hey, if you like those, you want to try something different, though, check out these Ons. So I posted these on Instagram, and I must have gotten 20 direct messages, literally, maybe within a couple hours that day. So you can see that they're a very different sneaker, namely the sole. The sole is... it has holes all through it. Now, the interesting thing about these particular sneakers is that they were first developed where the founder cut up garden hoses or cut up a garden hose and basically glued them to the bottom of his sneaker. I was reading the whole backstory on it because I found it very interesting, and I always love a good backstory. And so I said, you know what? They're very expensive sneakers though. Like that's the thing about, I don't know what it is. Maybe just because I remember like back in the day, like sneakers were under $100. No, they're all like $150 to $200 now. And I was like, okay, well, it's like, you get a lot of use out of them, but still it's $200. So I didn't buy them right away, but I saw them and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get them. And so this pair is wearing out. So I wanted to get these. And again, I'm sticking kind of with the white-based theme here. They've got so many different colors. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to link these up. I have to tell you that these are a Swiss-made sneaker. You can see a little Swiss flag right on the side there if you're watching this on video. When I first put them on, I did not like them. And I immediately said, oh, these are getting returned because there's no way I'm going to be able to run or train in these. And here's why. They felt stiff at first. And they felt like I might roll a little bit in them. So they were definitely a different feel from what I'm used to, because the Under Armour ones that I would never even thought of wearing Under Armour 5 or 7 years ago when they were just getting the sneaker business, I was like, these are not good sneakers. But they're now super comfortable. And so I tried these on and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to wear them around my office for the day and we'll see. Well, after a while, not long, maybe a half hour to an hour, what I noticed the most was how incredibly light they are. These, again, I don't have the weight difference because I'm not getting that deep into it. These are like half the weight of my Under Armours. These are like, literally they float. So you actually feel lighter as you are walking. And by the way, I'm not a spokesperson for this company. I don't get anything for recommending these actual sneakers. They didn't send them to me. I purchased them with my own money. And the stability that I thought that I lacked wasn't that. The stiffness, the lack of stability, is that the actual, it's interesting because I started to look at these sneakers. The actual sole wraps up the sneaker. It's reinforced. So it essentially cups your foot. So although I wouldn't say that it's the biggest and best arch support, it holds your foot from pronating in. So I'm definitely more prone to pronating, which means your foot kind of rolls in from, flatter arches. And I have to say, I'm a huge fan of these shoes now. I'm a huge fan of these sneakers. And it's funny because I'm like, well, if you just gave me the first feel, if I go into a store and try these on, I'm like, oh no, these are too stiff. They're very light, which feels great. They don't feel stable. No, I take that back now. I actually believe that these are a sturdy sneaker. The difference is too, with these in the Under Armour, that if you're running in a hot climate, these are super breathable. Like super lightweight, super breathable. The Under Armour, they are going to be better for cooler climate. They're definitely going to keep your feet warm. And they're sturdier. They have a bigger base on them. And so if you're somebody who wants more cushion and more support, more sturdiness, I still think the Under Armours are the sneaker for you. If you're somebody who wants lighter weight and maybe not that deep level of cushion, like that you could just put maybe like hundreds of miles on them. I think that these, which have the cloud tech versus the hover, may be the way to go. You can't go wrong with either of these, but if you want lightweight, breathable, fast sneakers, they feel super light. These ones right here, the Ons, I think are absolutely fantastic. So huge fan, so much so that I really don't want to get them all dirty. I don't know if you've ever felt like this. Like you get a nice white pair of sneakers, you want to buy another pair so you can just kind of like wear on their own and not outside. But for sure, these are going to be just as dirty, I'm sure, over the next 6 weeks. So wanted to share this with you. If you're in the sneaker-based world, you do a lot of fitness, whether it's cross-training, exercise, running, those could be a great next pair to pick up. I'll link them up at stephencabral.com/2310 and also on the resource base page at stephencabral.com/resources. All right, up next is, one of the best plants out there in terms of nutrient density. You may or may not have heard of it before. It is called Moringa leaf. And one of the amazing things about Moringa is that it's literally its own multivitamin, multimineral. It contains over 92 different nutrients. So it is super nutrient dense. So if you look at the nutrient density of a plant, I don't know that this has been particularly put up against like regular plants that we eat. This would be one of the most nutrient dense plants out there. 18 amino acids, 9 essential amino acids. It has over 46 different types of antioxidants. It's a high protein. Now, again, always take that. Whenever someone says like, oh, broccoli is high in protein. Sure, broccoli is high in protein, and so is moringa. But you have to eat a whole lot of it in order to get like 20 grams of protein. So again, we use that with a grain of salt, but it is higher in protein. Now, where you do get benefits, it's naturally high in potassium, naturally high in calcium, naturally high in vitamin C and vitamin A as well. So it's truly a superfood. It deserves that title of superfood. And then I want to give you some of the science around it. So there are claims, which I'm not necessarily going to say that I'm backing up today. I'm going to give you the scientific claims that we can back up. But a lot of people use this for their immune system, to improve libido, to improve energy, to improve vision, to help with overall healthy levels of blood pressure, to help with healthier levels of cholesterol, improve overall wrinkles and aging with the skin, improve digestion, detox, ulcers, and so much more. All right, so those are all in the may camp. Let me give you what's in the scientifically proven camp already. And by the way, there's no money to be made with really studying moringa. So I would love more studies to be done in the future. But again, unless they're going to extract one of these, like I'm about to talk about in my research, probably the money's not going to be there. So what I want to share with you is this, though. Besides all the amazing nutrients you can get from it, it does contain certain compounds that we know that have been studied now to boost the immune system, to help with allergies, to help with things like potentially with cancer and migraines and bloating and other histamine-related issues. And I would even put blood pressure in that category. And that's quercetin. So moringa is quite high in vitamin C, beta-carotene, which is vitamin A, and quercetin. So quercetin, again, a powerful, powerful antioxidant. We talk about it all the time. It's one that we use quite a bit in our practice. We use it in a product called HisPro. It can be used on its own too. So then there's also something called chlorogenic acid. Chlorogenic acids are found as a powerful antioxidant in coffee. That's why for the majority of people, the majority of the antioxidants they get on a daily basis actually comes from coffee, believe it or not. Coffee has many, many benefits. It can absolutely be overdone because of the caffeine, but again, super high in antioxidants as well. So one other one that's, again, very, very helpful for general population is that moringa has been shown to potentially, we always say potentially, even though there's clinical scientific studies on it, is it can help lower blood sugar. So I've got a few studies here. There's a few human ones, but there's also animal-based studies and showing that it reduced fasting blood sugar levels by 13.5%, and at a higher dosage may reduce it by 21%. I mean, that's clinically significant. I mean, think about it. If you were at 100 for your blood sugar level and you brought it down by 21%, now you're at what? 79. Like that is clinically significant for sure. And these studies were done with regular blood sugar as well as people with diabetes. So pretty impressive. Another one on inflammation. So it's difficult to make claims about inflammation because the powers that be always, lose their minds. But moringa has powerful anti-inflammatory based components to it, or compounds, plant-based compounds, phytonutrients, that have been linked to heart-based disease and cancer. So you can decide to read that however you want, but these are very powerful nutrients. The other one that I spoke about is cholesterol. There are 4 studies that I know of showing that moringa may lower cholesterol in both humans, and obviously there are animal studies as well. Okay, the last one I wanted to share with you is on detoxification. There is a pretty good study on moringa lowering arsenic levels. This is important for both children and adults since arsenic can be found in water, in produce, in rice, etc. So important to look at that. And again, I wanted to bring this to you today. It's not one that a lot of people talk about. I feel like it was more popular maybe 8 to 10 years ago, but really doesn't necessarily go out of style because it's what nature gave us, right? Nature gave us these amazing components and plant-based compounds to be able to use for our own health. The way that I use moringa on a daily basis is inside of a greens powder. So not all greens powders, because it's expensive to use as a nutrient, so a lot of companies don't add it, but moringa is often found added to a lot of like superfood greens powders. It's in our daily fruit and vegetable blend. It's the one that I use every single day, and that's where I get my moringa as well, in addition to all the other great superfoods too. So Great product. Check it out. And additional details I'll leave at stephencabral.com/2310. All right, research studies of the week. I've got two for you, and these are two. Again, I always hand select these as to what I think is most pertinent. Well, I'm gonna summarize it for you. This was done on over 10,000 people. It was done at the University of Chicago Medicine, and is published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism. So I'm going to summarize the study since I really looked at it and read it over multiple times. And the reason is that, as personal trainers and even exercise physiologists, that we were always taught back in the day that someone that was overweight, let's say 50 pounds overweight to more, 100 pounds overweight, whatever you want to say, is that they weren't at risk for osteoporosis. And the reason that they wouldn't be as great a risk for osteoporosis is that bones will grow, increase osteoblasts. They'll actually make more bone if there's more tensile, there's more pressure on them, right? So that's one of the reasons why you can make more bone by strength training. You can make more bone by doing uphill sprints because there's actual tension, pressure on the ground. So that would be for anyone and at any weight. But if you're walking around with an extra 50 pounds, 100 pounds, it was believed that, that weight would stave off osteoporosis because you're constantly essentially lifting heavier weight than your structure would have been built for. But new studies are now showing that people, and this is actually, let me give you the direct quote, men with higher levels of body fat were more likely to break a bone and have lower bone density compared to men with normal levels of body fat. Also, for both men and women, a strong positive association was found between lean body mass and bone density. This goes against, the science that we knew 20 years ago. And it's because a lot of it was theorized and now greater studies are done. But this is why it is important to keep an open mind, because it makes sense. It makes sense from an inflammatory based standpoint. Again, people were not really talking about inflammaging and things like that 20 years ago. They just weren't. It wasn't being talked about. Certainly not 25 years ago when I was sick, that's for sure. So here's the thing though. If you have inflammation or you have gut dysbiosis, you're not able to absorb the right nutrients, and you're constantly inflamed, you're constantly in a state of like catabolism or breaking down or not being able to properly build up because of nutrient deficiencies. Even if you're breaking down the bone because your body is overweight, you're not able to rebuild properly. And that's why you could have more bone loss. So it totally makes sense now from the me 20 years later than the me 20 years previous, kind of regurgitating the information that I was given. And so I just wanted to share that with you. I think it's important for all of us to look at that and really not discount the importance of, one, maintaining a healthy body weight. Again, doesn't mean that you're going to be super thin or anything like that. You're going to be at the right body weight for you, and that you're, again, maintaining overall health. That's really what it comes down to. All right, our second and last research study for the day is, check out this quote, scientists find sea coral as source of sought after anti-cancer compound. So when I'm going through my scientific research studies, which I get basically just hundreds I get each week, and then I go through the studies and I decide to read certain ones that I find interesting. This was done at the University of Utah Health, literally published yesterday. So when I tell you I'm trying to bring you the most cutting edge research, I am. So I'm going to give you the summary. The bottom of the ocean is full of mysteries, but scientists have recently uncovered one of its best kept secrets. For 25 years, drug hunters have been searching for the source of a natural chemical that has been shown promise in initial studies for treating cancer. Now, researchers report that easy to find soft corals, flexible corals that resemble underwater plants, make this elusive compound. So read through the article, read through all the research, and the compound, if you want to know what the compound is, I highlighted it for you. I have to actually pull that up for you. It is eleuthero. Let's see what it is, because it reminded me of eleuthero, and that was the first part of it. Let's see if I can find it. If not, I'm going to have to link it up for you. But I can't believe I just had it highlighted for you. That's too bad. It's something called like eleutherobin, and that's pretty close. I don't know that that's what it actually is, but that's very close to what it was. And that is the way that I remembered it, because it is like the Ayurvedic and TCM-based herb for energy, used for the adrenal, used for the hormones as well. in terms of nourishing the body. So what are they going to be doing with this now? They're actually going to be extracting this nutrient, and I did just find it here, and it is called eleuthrobion. They're going to be using this now to see which types of cancers it's going to be best as an anti-cancer-based drug. So I don't necessarily, people always ask, like, well, do you have an issue with them taking natural plant-based compounds and making it into drugs? And I really don't for a targeted based approach. I don't, because my overall goal in life and my mission with my work is this. I want to keep people healthy. In an ideal world, people wouldn't get cancer and autoimmune issues and all these things in the first place. But you know what? Sometimes they do. And sometimes they didn't know about all the different things that could help them in the first place. Sometimes they don't know about emptying their rain barrel and doing functional medicine detoxes and moving their body and all these things. And that takes time. So we still want to be able to help those people if they're at later stages in some type of dis-ease process. So I have no problem with this, at all. I hope that we're able to use it in natural health. I hope that we're able to use it in conventional-based medicine as well. I truly believe that there is a time and place for both, and the goal is to simply do what is best for the patient and not necessarily what's best for the doctor. That's really what it's all about. So hopefully today's podcast was helpful. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back tomorrow with our Cabral House Calls, answering all of our community's questions. Take care. Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only two ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.